Good morning, everybody. So today I woke up and I pulled out my laptop and I started working through. I'm actually training my own Freddy Krueger Repertoire course. Like I said, the courses that I make them in such a way that they're going to be useful for me. So I'm actually using my own course to train this, and I want to help use it to help me get to 2000. So that's the idea. So I've already been through a couple, the Russo Accepted previously, and it's more or less kind of one a day, one major chunk a day. And now I'm moving on to the Russo Declined D3, where we play the Lucchini Gambit. So what's really interesting is that as I went through it as a student, I found new insights, right? And I was then able to go back into the studies on Lichess and update them. So there's two types of studies. I'll show you on here. So this is the course itself. So I've been through the Russo Accepted. Now I'm onto the Russo Declined D3. There's two types of studies which I'll show you. There's the learn and then there's the test. Okay. So what I wanted to do today is just show you some of the innovations that I've discovered in the Lucchini when I published the course, but also after going through it again today. So here's the thing. When I update these studies, everyone who's bought the course gets the updated study, right? So it's not a course that you learn once and say thank you very much and forget about. It's a course that is going to keep evolving over time. There may be cases where I come up with entirely new lines, but what I've done today is I've been able to explain. I've tested some of my lines and I've explained some of the other recommendations in a better way because I've understood them a better way because I'm trying to learn them, right? So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to come up with ways of explaining why this move is the right move in such a way that you'll go, I remember that next time. Okay, so I just want to show you. Well, let's first show you the Lucchini, right? So it comes from the Russo Gambit, which is from the Italian. Okay, so this is the Russo with F5 here. Okay, and the most common move that you're going to find is that they accept and then you push, so it's like the Vienna. Okay, but and that's 40% of the time. Okay, now this is the most common way that they will decline the gambit with D3. And what we're going to play here is bishop to C5. Now it's worth also saying, let me just pull up a separate Explorer board just to show you from Black's perspective. So the more common way that people would get into the Lucchini Gambit is probably, I'd imagine, so the Italian game. Okay, most common move here, bishop c5. Okay, and now c3 is very typical, castles is typical, b4. The fourth move here is d3, right? And then from Black, knight f6, blah 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 blah. But here's f5 here, and f5 then transposes into the Lucchini Gambit from the gioco pianissimo, right? So this is the gioco piano when you've got two bishops out, which is Italian for quiet game. Okay, because gioco is game. That's where we get the word joke in English, I think. And then this is the very quiet game, pianissimo. Okay, now so here we are, back to the study. So we've done that. So I want to show you four things actually. Right, so a lot of the time they're just going to castle, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to push d6. Now, very often, actually, in the Lucchini, you're going to want to put your pawn on d5, but we don't want to do that straight away because it's forcing, right? We actually want to keep this structure. What we want in the Lucchini is for the knight to come in, and then we're going to shut the door on the knight with a move pawn to f4. Okay, and we want that knight to come in. So here, if the knight does now come in, because obviously he's thinking Black's a fool, right? My knight can come straight in there, forking the queen and rook, winning material, and I'll probably go on to win the game. Not so fast. So here we shut the door on the knight, and your bishop here, we just go king f8, okay, but by far the more common is for the knight in, and we come flying out with a queen. Now, what most people do here is play knight f6, and what I've always played is knight f6, thinking I'm going to go in here and just going to cause havoc there. Always notice, by the way, that this pawn is in a pin after he's castled, but it's not necessarily the right thing to do. Okay, now what I want you to remember is, if the queen is on this diagonal here, then developing our bishop, taking advantage of the fact that this pawn is in a pin and can't move forwards, right, is a good idea. So now the queen comes here, okay, and we're still going to leave this knight at home. This knight comes out to join the attack in some lines, but not all. So now we come in with, again, the queen's knight comes in. Bishop comes back to defend, obviously, the very same fork. Well, no, different fork on here. It's the king's square and the rook. Okay, and here, the next move is not obvious at all until you see it. Okay, the move now is knight f3 check. So king there is just obviously mate. So white is compelled to capture the knight, and then we take here, and we're simply threatening then queen to g4 or queen to g5 is checkmate, because the king can't move. Okay, so all he can do is, but basically what I call throwing bodies under the bus. Okay, doesn't matter what he does here. No, we can't play queen there because the bishop guards, but that, and that's checkmate. Okay, I'll see it again, and this is great. I love this. You know, this is how I want to learn chess. Okay, and the octopus is prompting me here. Play the quiet d6. In fact, sod it. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to go do it this way. The delayed f7 trap. When they castle first, and you bide your time, you want to give them another bite of the cherry, second bite of the cherry, to come in with the knight. Thank you very much for shutting the door on the knight. I've won a lot of games from this position. Okay, the queen comes flying out all the same. This is a mistake. Well, a blunder. Because now we hit the queen, right? Okay. And now we come in with a knight, and what we're doing is we're threatening the fork on c2. So the bishop moves back, but actually what we're really doing is we're coming in here. Right, he's got to take, otherwise it's mate. Bishop takes, cutting off this square and this square, so the king has no squares. All we need to do now is deliver check. So we step out of the way. Doesn't matter, we just want to deliver. Oh. Alright, you can just take the bishop. Yeah, I suppose the bishop could have jumped in the way. Okay, and then here, and all he can do is play that, and that's mate. Okay, so that's one line I wanted to show you, which is different. And important for me, you know, this is useful for me going over this stuff as well. Right, let me show you the immediate f6 trap, again, which is very similar, but different. Okay, so this is what you're really hoping for when you play the Lucchini, is for the knight just to dive straight in. Okay, we shut the door on the knight. What do we mean by shutting the door? Well, the bishop no longer defends the knight, and the knight is under attack by the queen. It's technically en prise, right? And previously, on the previous move, right, it's the queen could just take the knight for free because the bishop's not defending. So in comes the knight. Okay, come out here. If white castles here, we've transposed to the previous line. Okay. However, we haven't pushed d6. Okay, so now if they just take the rook, it's mate. The queen takes f7. Right, it's like a scholar's mate. So they're unlikely to do that. Now the queen's got a few places she can go to defend that pawn. Right, this is the most common. Right, so here it's saying knight d4 is winning. Absolutely, but more surgically, we're going to push now. Remember I said d5, and why? The queen is on this diagonal. Okay, so I'm going to push d5 with tempo. Now we could push d6, right? But d6 is not the same, because it doesn't come with tempo on the bishop. This is much more forcing, and he'll take the pawn and say thank you very much, and now out comes our bishop. No, it doesn't. because our knight's under attack. Right, we're going to come in with the knight first, and now it's the bishop. And notice again, this pawn is now pinned, but from this direction this time. Okay, we come in with the bishop now, and he can't push the f pawn because it's pinned. So queen comes here, and now the next move is interesting. What we're doing is, you see, we've got our bishop kind of x-raying down at f2, and our queen's looking at f2. So the next move is this. So that takes away all the king's squares. Okay, but more than that, it's cutting off the queen's defense of the f2 pawn. Okay, so here again, in comes the knight with a royal fork, hitting the king and the queen. Right, they take that, and now we can literally come in there, and now we can just take the queen. Okay, minus 5.6 eval. You just don't lose from this position. Right, we're plus 3 materials, but we've got everything going for us. Okay, so that's number 6. I wanted to show you the next one as well, number 7. Well, let's train it first. Let's train number 6. Okay, the immediate f6 trap. Let's go. Okay, shut the door. Queen in. Okay, right, and now you can see it's not giving me the hints, but if I want one, I can do that. Okay, the most surgical line. So we're going to go for this. And now it's the knight in, isn't it? Because we don't want him to take our knight. This knight is important in the attack. Now we go in with the bishop. And he can't push the pawn, so up comes the queen again. And now it's this move, cutting the queen off from f2. And now it's the royal fork, sacrificing the knight or the bishop, doesn't really matter. And now we come in and we simply win the game. Okay, what we'll probably do is just snatch the pawn on g2 and crack on. Okay, right then, back to the training one. So you go over the training one as many times as you want, and you've got, you know, it's in preview mode. Okay, so this is the next one. Okay, this is immediate knight coming in, and this is very nice indeed. Okay, so they push g3. If they push g3, you always just advance the queen to h3. Now they go in with that, and now again, normally I would have just gone flying in with the knight, but it's not that. Why? The queen is on this diagonal still, so we're going to push d5. They shouldn't have taken there, because now this, and now it gets even sexier, because we're not even going to save the bishop, we're just going to take that pawn there. And now we're going to push here, and the rook's got nowhere to go, because the pawn guards this, and the bishop guards that. So we snatch the rook. Okay, now the knight comes in, flying in. Right, just look at all these pieces, just buzzing around his head like no one's business. And now, bishop to e3. He'll probably just take the bishop. I can start throwing bodies under the bus again. Okay, we can take here, right? Yeah, we've got to take here, because there he just takes our queen, so that's not good. Do that, and now there's actually 3 checkmates. Queen takes e2 equals mate. Pawn to g1 equals queen is mate, and pawn to g1 equals rook is also mate. So there you go. And there's one more I wanted to show you today that's just think is really cool. We won't do the training on that one, but you get the idea. Okay, so here they belatedly accept the gambit. Okay, so they accept the Rousseau pawn. Okay, and this, I guess, is the Lucchini Gambit accepted as well, I suppose. So it's very tempting here to bring the knight out, but see, they've just undefended d5 for that move, so we can play d5. Okay, the eval gives 0-0, but we're going to line up an evil trap by offering white a free pawn. Okay, the move here is knight ge7. No, it's not. The move here is knight e7. So, chess nerd moment. This would normally otherwise be knight ce7, but knight ce7 is not a legal move. So the correct notation is knight e7. Okay, there you go. And they've given up a pawn. Right, so we can go ahead with castle. And they take here, kick the bishop away. Okay, and now the reason I want to show you this as well, this is a actually a very common attacking pattern. And the idea is we're going to get this king over to g1, shutting in this rook with an open f-file. And it's like, well, how are we going to get an open f-file? There's 2 white pawns on that file. But not for long, because we're going to go and take that one. And then we're going to go take that one. Okay? And the king shuffles off over there. Minus 5.6. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come out here, maybe move the knight. Want to give check with the queen there or there, you know, or even here and move the knight. So we've got here or here. When the knight moves, we're threatening just to dive in with the queen with checkmate. Minus 5.6, right? White is actually up a full piece, but this is the piece, like that bishop there. Okay, and yeah, it looks like it can come in the game, but our attack's just going to be too strong. Yeah, knight c3 sacrifice line. Yeah, this I've got to show you this one as well. This is just too good, right? So they play solidly with knight c3. We're just going to burn a move here, and we have to block with a knight. And this is really interesting. If you've been following this channel for a while, if you're familiar with the von Hennig Gambit against Caro-Kann, you should be aware of a particular pattern. And the pattern is, opponent has pinned our knight to our queen with his bishop, and we are eyeing the f pawn with our bishop. Right? This doesn't matter which way round you do it. Okay. Now, what we want to do is we want to play bishop takes f2, check, king takes, and then we want to play knight takes e4 with check, and then pick up this bishop here with 2 attackers. Does that make sense? And I've got a study where I think I've got 20 different combinations of where this exact attack comes. It's not this exact attack, but that attack where you sack the bishop on f2 or f7, right? And then you come in with a knight. And this is just one of those. It's probably not in that study even because, you know, I just figured it out recently. Okay, so here's the point. Can we do this now? Bishop takes there, king takes there, we go there, with check, pawn takes. Okay, so we can't. So what we do first is we trade the pawns here. And that's what I didn't realise until today. Right, so this course just got better today. So everyone who's bought the course just found their course, just went, ooh, leveled up. You hear what I'm saying? It's brilliant, okay? And that's now a mistake, because now we can come flying in with this, right? And now it's check with a discovered attack on the bishop, right? We're not revealing an attack on our queen. We're winning the bishop. And you don't take with a queen, by the way. That would be a dumbass move, because knight takes queen. But we've got 2 attackers, so we take this way, right? And guess what? Guess what else? You can take this, give up this pawn here, okay? We're going to play king d7, give up the rook. Oh, obvious next move? Yes, that's obvious. Check. Drive the king out of here, rook f8, trade skis, bingo, -9. Right? That's like black has got a whole row of pawns and another one. Right? So there you go. Some recent innovations that I found in the Lucchini Gambit. Love it, love it, love it. Bring it. I can't wait for some fools to accept my Lucchini. And as always, you know, this is part of the ever-evolving, ever-improving, right, thrills and spills of the Freddy Krueger Repertoire. If you haven't bought the course, please go and buy the course. It's still only $29, goes up to $59 at the end of the month. That's February 2025. It's still awesome value at $59, but you know, if you can go out and, you know, support the channel, I would really, really appreciate it. Please come and buy the course. You've got it for life, and it's going to get better and better and better. You can't say fairer than that. Thank you for watching. See you later.